Hi, I'm going to show one way of kicking off the string calculator kata following the open-closed constraints. So I've got here the first test. This is a test that shows that the empty string should evaluate to 0. So first of all, I'm going to create the factory class. Now I'm going to create the calculator class, and now a create method on the factory which will return a new calculator, and finally the eval method on the calculator which will return 0, and the test passes. Okay, cool, straightforward so far. Now let's add another test. This time I just want to test for just a single integer value. So let's assert that we can parse an integer value from the string. Now that's going to fail, good, and it's going to fail because the calculator obviously doesn't do anything with the input string at the minute. But what it does do is a valid case. It evaluates a particular case to 0. So the approach I'm going to take here, I'm not allowed to change this class because that would violate the open-closed rules. So what I need to do is add a new class somehow that that has the extra functionality of parsing a string and digging an integer out of it. So I'm going to add that as a decorator to this object. So I'm going to then have two objects that both implement the calculator responsibility, and they do different things, and if one can't do its job then it will delegate to the other. So the first thing I'm going to do is rename this so that its name matches what it does. Now what I'm going to do is extract an interface called calculator which has the eval method on it. So all I've done here is floated off an interface from this class, and you can see the factory now works in terms of that interface, and so does the test. So again, we've changed nothing, we're still at exactly the same point. Now I'm going to go back to the factory. I'm going to extract this to a local variable and make this a calculator, and check that the tests all run. I'm now going to add a new calculator which will, as you can see, wraps the 0 object, and this is what we will pass back to the test. So we'll create the integer value class. As you can see, it's going to implement the interface, and in here now, because we're in new code, we can write whatever we like. So the first thing I'm going to do is, hang on, let's go back. This still doesn't compile because we need a constructor. So let's rename this so that it's not specific to the context we're in, and let's assign it to a field. And now in here, let's just simply delegate for now. If I run the tests, we're in exactly the same position. But what I want to actually do in here is parse the string. Now that's not going to work because the parser throws an exception if it doesn't see an integer in the string. So we have to catch that exception. And so if we see an integer in the string, we return it, otherwise we delegate to the next operator in the chain, and the tests pass.